Hi guys, my name is Ben Guilford. I'm the owner of the Firebrick Company, and this is a short video introducing our rotisserie system for our Argentinian grills. This is something we have been working on for a very long time, and so I'm super excited to bring it to you. It is a complete system. When you buy the rotisserie system, it comes with everything. Some companies you'll buy a rotisserie, but then you'll need to buy chicken prongs and an animal prong set, etc. We just give you the whole lot all together. There is a small amount of assembly required, so let me take you through that now. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is to put the mountings onto the variable rack. Very, very simple, 4 bolts. You're going to be using the small Allen key that came with your grill to put those on. So grab one of these and follow me. All right, so this is going to bolt onto the outside here. We're just going to get one of our small bolts and put that through there like that. And then we get our pocket here. This is a CNC machined pocket that will go on the outside and just do up on there. We'll grab our other bolt, put that in. And then we'll tighten that up with our Allen key, and that's done. And now we repeat the process on the other side. Right, so that is super easy. Pockets are installed on the variable rack. Now we just need to install the motor on the motor mount. So this is the motor mount. This side here is going to slot directly in there like that. And then we want our motor to be mounted off to the side. So the easiest way to mount the motor to the motor mount is just to lay this down on its back and put that against it. And you've got these 2 larger bolts here. You'll use your larger Allen key. Just put those on, get that lined up and screwed in. Once you've got one in, very easy to get the other side in. Okay, so we've got our motor installed on its motor mount. Now we can put that on the grill. Then we can take the receiver and put that on the other side. So you're done. You're now ready to enjoy your rotisserie. So comes with a whole lot of components that you can use. You have gyros plates, chicken prongs, and you have large animal prongs, and a counterweight as well, which is quite important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up for gyros and a chicken. I realize this is the G3 that we're dealing with here, which is a big grill, and that can actually handle 2 chickens and a gyros. Right, so I've mocked up our rotisserie spit here to have 2 chickens and a nice big gyros on it. And so if that was fully loaded, I could then just pick that up, bring that over to the grill. And again, this is going to be heavy. If this was fully loaded, this would be quite heavy, but it's really easy to mount it. Just put this end on the ceramic bearings and then come around the other end and you just slide it over into the motor all the way down, and then lean it down on the receiver, and you're ready to go. Something we put a huge amount of effort into is the development of the motor and the connection between the rotisserie rod and the motor to minimize backlash in the system. So backlash is effectively like looseness in an axial gear train system, and you might have seen it before. You might have actually seen it if you're familiar with rotisseries. You might have seen a rotisserie before that has a lot of backlash, where as the meat rotates up to the high point, it will then fall. It will sort of rotate rapidly, and bits of meat can fall off, and the oil's falling off, and that's backlash in the system. And I've seen spits with like 90 degrees of backlash. That's way too much, and that actually ends up killing the rotisserie motor. Okay, just puts this dynamic load. Every time it falls, bang, it puts this load through the motor, which damages the gearing. So we've put a lot of effort into the development of this motor. It's custom made for us, and it's rated to 50 kilos. Okay, so that's more weight than you could possibly ever put onto it. And you'll see it has almost no backlash. It's about ½ degree, okay? I'm very proud of that. That is a key part of our design. The best thing that you can do for your rotisserie motor is to balance your spit rod before you start using it, and I'll show you how to do that now. All right, so this is your counterweight. It's a long butterfly screw with stainless steel counterweight, which has its own butterfly screw that secures it to the long one. And I'll demonstrate how it works. We've got our rotisserie set up behind us, and because there's no meat on here, it's actually perfectly balanced already. What I've done to change that is I've actually added a counterweight to mimic a big piece of meat that was put on not quite central, okay? Now what I'm gonna do is just gonna pull it out of the motor. Just have to, what I want is I want this to spin freely. And you can see straight away it's hanging down at this point, okay? And so it's weighted this way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take out one of the butterfly screws on any of the attachments. We've designed all of these attachments ourselves, so we've allowed you to use your counterweight on any of the attachments. So that could be on the chicken prongs, it could be on this gyros plate here. I think I'll use this one here. So I'm just gonna remove this butterfly screw. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna replace that butterfly screw with the counterweight. What we wanna do is we want to oppose the weight. Okay, so we find the point that it's hanging at, and we put our long butterfly screw vertical from there. So just adjust that. There we go. And then all we need to do from there is just bring this up or down to get it balanced. So try there. Ooh, we're very close there. Maybe just a little bit more. I think that's almost perfectly balanced. Now, please don't feel like you need to perfectly balance your spit every time you use it. Doesn't have to be perfect, but the closer you get it to perfectly balanced, the less stress you're putting through the motor. That is very pleasing. Another part of the design that I want to point out are the ceramic bearings that we use. So instead of the spit rod being supported purely by the motor and sort of a fork at the other end of the spit, we have ceramic bearings at each end fully supporting that rod. So even if it's got a lot of weight on it, you're not actually putting any additional load through the motor. The load is being carried by the bearings, and all the motor has to do is rotate your spit rod. Something else the bearings are doing for you at the receiver end is they're keeping the rotisserie rod on the grill. You'll see that there is a machined groove that matches up with the receiver bearings. So once you get your rotisserie rod mounted, then these bearings are preventing the rod from sliding off. You'll also find a small groove at each end, which is showing you where to put your fittings so that the butterfly screws don't clash with the grill body. One of the key features of our rotisserie is that you can raise and lower it with the variable rack system. If you've ever had a rotisserie at home, you'll know the pain associated with that, where you're halfway through a cook and you realize, oh my goodness, it's cooled down, we need to lower it. And so you have to undo these butterfly screws and everything's hot and greasy and you're trying not to drop it, and it's just difficult. Whereas with our system, you just rotate the handle and down it comes. Or if it's a little bit too hot, you can bring it up. Speaking of bringing it up, you might have the firebox quite hot and realize you need to actually raise it up really high. No problem. We'll just take off the removable rack here, lift that off, and then we can raise the grill as high as we want. So if you really want to go low and slow on one particular cook, you absolutely can. So you can raise the grill up very high and get a nice slow cook going on. The other thing that you can do is you can actually have food under here. You can take your round bar grills or even your V-bar grills and put them under your rotisserie so all the drippings are dripping down onto whatever you're cooking underneath. All right. The other thing I will mention is that you can mount 2 of these to your grill. In this case, we've got a windshield mounted on the back. We would need to remove that, and then we could actually mount the exact same system on the other side. Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed this video about our rotisserie system. If you have any questions about it, please don't hesitate to reach out, pick up the phone, give us a call, or shoot us an email, and we'll be very happy to help you.